Stacking activities. So this is a little different than chunking. Stacking activities, sometimes we have lots of space between the activities that we do. We put space there, such as we have a one-on-one meeting and then we schedule another one a half hour, 45 minutes later, something like that. And stacking activities is all about eliminating the space there. Now, this is still eliminating the space with similar activities. Patient care would be another one, right? You don't want to have gaps in your schedule. Now, some of that you can help, although I will talk about how you can help it. But again, when you could see if you're a therapist, you could see 4 patients in a day and it'd be the worst day, longest day of your life. Or you could see 20 patients a day. You're busy as hell, exhausted by the end of the day, but you feel so good because there was just a nonstop flow of patients and time just flew and you felt like you were in that zone. So by reducing the filler is really critical in, again, being totally creative, totally present, having your mind just, in that flow state. So I gave you an example here. Instead of treating 10 hours with gaps in your schedule, maybe reduce it to 6 hours. I don't want lots of open space on my schedule. So if people are just coming in all over the place, well, I'm just going to reduce the amount of time that I'm open, that I'm available, create a little bit of scarcity, force people to come in when I'm available, because I don't want to come in and not do anything. And I know if I try to do another task, it has to be some mundane medial task, because if it's something that takes a lot of brain power, the minute I start it, all of a sudden it's going to stop by someone coming in. And then I can never get started again, and I don't do as good of a job. So that's one example I put in stacking. Another was the one-on-one meeting example. Not only chunk activities to one-on-one meetings on a particular day and time, but to schedule them back to back to back, not have a lot of time in between the meetings, which means it's important for us to stay on time in our meetings. That's a real critical component, but that's okay. That's on us. Does anybody have another example about stacking activities, reducing lots of open time in your schedule and concentrating the time so you could just go ba-boom, 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 and then be done? What experience do you have?
So I do have some gaps, and I allow those gaps to be the time to do my emails, because I really dread my emails. So the meetings get me accountable to being on the computer. And then I just try to knock out a bunch of emails and catch up on my little to-do list that requires me to be in front of the computer. So that gap time has actually worked for me, because if I have back-to-back meetings, then I'm clocking out for the day and I'm not going to get to my to-do list, because I don't have anything to keep me grounded and keep me accountable.
Well, some of those, if it's a one-time thing, but if it's an ongoing thing, I would certainly question, with the right training and just, directions, if that's an ongoing thing, that's an administrative task. And I'll tell you, the thing that eats up our time, I never recommend when I'm working with someone to cut patient care first and foremost. It's administrative stuff, because that's what really kills our time, wastes our time. Part of those 22 hours a week is admin stuff, whatever that is, which is why we have to audit our time to see how many admin type of things is just taking its way, because nobody's energized by admin. I mean, that's not what we do, but it's kind of a part of kind of filling in those gaps. Like you said, I'm doing this important work, I'm doing this important work. In between those two things, I'll just jump on the computer, maybe look at some Facebook, maybe do this, maybe do that. And even that activity alone isn't very efficient, because you're in between your brain of two, different types of tasks. So again, I never say if it's working, you keep doing it, but if it's maybe not working to the level that maybe you wanted to or it could, exploring the options of, well, what if I chunk those two activities and stack them on top of each other, such as meetings or whatever, and then I just blocked out, I review my emails twice a day, once in the morning, once in the early afternoon, or I look for getting a VA to help me go through my emails and help me address my emails depending on how many emails you're getting and stuff. So again, it's kind of challenging ourselves of how to create a more and more efficient week, because the value of what we bring to the business is much greater than so many of the activities we do. The hard part is it's a habit. I'm used to it. Whatever. I don't mind it. I just do it. Whatever. It's a bigger pain in the ass if I just try to find somebody and train them. I get it, but you then say stuck there as well. So just something to, kind of sit with. Sue, what about you? Experience stacking activities?
I usually try to stack all the things that you just mentioned, the things that I want to focus on and not lose track of, like the payroll, the banking, the talking to the accountant, anything like that. I usually want to stack those all on the same day at the same time and close my door, because just like you said, my brain, if I lose track of a number, I'm not that great with the numbers, but if I lose track of a number, it takes me a long time to get back to that place. So anything that has to do with the business side, I just set aside a time every week, 2 hours, and that's just not interrupted by anything, no patient care.
I'm writing that down, Sue. I love that example. I wrote this one, make the priority the priority. What do I mean by this? 𝐕𝐚𝐴𝐽𝐸, I forgot to give him a little credit here. 𝐕𝐚𝐴𝐽𝐸 said, the key is not to prioritize your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. And this really resonates with me as someone who is, actively doing this now on my schedule and have been for a little while. It's always a work in progress. To understand what the priorities are and to know that they go in first, and you choosing where they go and how they go in. So that means we have to determine what is a priority and what's not. I think I might have mentioned this in the first session a couple weeks ago. I said, give me someone's schedule and I'll tell you what's important to them. And so many people, if I ask, hey, what's important to you? Well, family's important. I go, okay, great. And then I say, well, let me see your schedule. And it's patient care every day, and then bookkeeping and marketing, and then meetings and whatever. And I don't see any family stuff on their schedule, nothing. And I said, so you're saying this is important, but it's not on your calendar, which means you're hoping there's time somewhere for your families at some point. And, our heart's in the right place, but the reality is you're not doing it. And that can create even more guilt and frustration and feeling really just bad that we're supposedly doing all this for our family, yet the family's not getting the benefit from anyone. Even if we are making money, if you ask them, they probably want you there more than just a few dollars. But I know many of us aren't doing either, right? We're working our butts off and still not making the kind of money we know we should be making. So this idea of understanding what is the priority, professional, business-wise, and personal, that's what goes on your schedule first. So one of the things that I do, this is just Jamey's little hot tip, is for me, every Monday, I have it blocked on my calendar. I go through my entire week, typically a little bit more, maybe a week and a half. I go through my week and I schedule or make sure, if it's a recurring activity, I make sure the things that's most important to me, the priority in my business, as well as my personal time, is on my calendar. Number one. So I know, worst comes to worst, the things that are most important are there. So if I'm having lunch with my wife, or if I'm exercising, or going away for a day or two, that is on the calendar. Now, those types of things, I'll do some of them well in advance. So things have to be booked around my social calendar, because me doing social stuff, rejuvenating and re-energizing is one of the most critical things that I can do to be a better leader, owner, entrepreneur, coach, etc. So looking at your week, scheduling time to look at your week, I think is a really great activity to do, blocking out maybe 30 minutes or 45 minutes and looking at what is, and asking yourself, what is the most important thing that I want to do this week? So it helps you also align what's important, where you're focusing want to focus your time, and actually making it happen versus having it as a hope. Well, I hope to get to this. Comments from you guys. What are your thoughts about making that priority the priority? Do you do that? If so, what's your secret? What's your magic to that?
Well, this is probably something I struggle with, particularly in the office setting, at least in the given last year that I've had, just with a lot of changes and growth and things like that. But the one thing I have gotten back to is at least putting that personal side back in. And so for instance, scheduling a date night or time with our family at a specific day and time of the week, and actually physically putting it on my calendar, my family's calendar. And now we all know it exists, and it's summer and it's short in South Dakota, so we like to enjoy the lake and the water when we can. And so we kind of turn that into our Tuesday night lake night, and we've had 2 weeks in a row of just fantastic, relaxing, couple hours on a Tuesday night or whatever. But if that didn't exist and wasn't on the calendar for both my husband and I, who are business owners in totally different industries, to see, that would never happen. And for me, it's a small piece, but it's big. It's big in the aspect of my family and being able to do that. And I try to do it with my work calendar. I think I struggle with defining one priority and picking one thing. And that's something I'm still kind of really working on, with you and with Steve and stuff like that. So,
Sure.
But even something as simple as that one thing for our family it's been huge and really great for us. So.
Yeah. Well, first of all, congratulations on doing that. That's a big step forward. Couple questions for you. One, how do you feel Wednesday morning when you come in?
Oh yeah, a lot better.
So if there's a problem Wednesday morning, would you say you're more reactive or less reactive to whatever the problem is that a staff brings you?
Yeah, less reactive, for
less
sure.
reactive. Monday morning, maybe not so much, or whatever. Thursday morning, Tuesday morning. So when we take time for ourselves, we show up better. Our thoughts are clear. Our emotions don't get the best of us. So I think the most important priority you can make, the number one priority I make, is blocking out my social personal calendar, especially starting with vacations. Well, I hope to take a vacation next month or next quarter. No. There is no hope. Book it. Yeah, but I don't know about that. No. If you book it, it will become reality and you'll work around it. If you don't book it, then you're making the assumption, which ain't going to happen, that it's going to fit in somewhere. And Kristen, you've admitted that I know it's not going to happen.
Yep.
So what is the next biggest priority that's important to where your business is now for you, non-personal?
I think for me, it's taking the time and really being disciplined to my time within the week and in my work week to schedule, to plan my week. When I do that, I have a much better grip on the week.
Okay.
So and I do that well, but I think where I struggle is I'll plan it. I try to do the chunking, the stacking, all of that. But I think I have to get over some underlying guilt or feeling like I have to explain myself for what I'm doing with my time to my team. And that's become a realization to myself that I I need to just do it and not apologize for it?
I'm so glad you said it, because the problem isn't what you just said. What you just said is, I'm not sure what to make a priority. And now you just said, well, you know exactly what to make a priority. The problem is you feel guilty. The problem is it's these other emotions and stories that you are telling yourself that is interfering with you doing it.